Hi, welcome back. I'm Stan the Retired Guy. This will be a different kind of video for this channel. I'll be laying out plans for my woodshed doors. So just a heads up, I'll be doing a whole lot of talking. If you're not into architectural planning, this video might not float your boat. Still, I'm hoping you'll stick around. The reason I'm making this video is because I need your help. I have some tentative ideas for how to build the doors, but there are some unusual design constraints that have me kind of stumped. It'd be great to get your feedback if you have ideas about how I could improve my design. Okay, so just to recap, I built this 8 by 14 foot shed in the corner of my lot, and the purpose was to consolidate my many piles of wood into one structure that hopefully will be more fire safe than just leaving the wood out in the open. Currently the shed has metal roof, but no walls, which doesn't make it fire safe at all. The goal in this phase is to build metal doors and walls that might enclose the structure. You could probably tell from the picture that this thing is packed. The entire space under the roof is pretty much filled with racks. It would be impossible to get the wood in and out if you have conventional walls. The alternative is to make a whole bunch of doors that will allow me access from any side. This is an unconventional design, so I'm not sure this will actually work. So here's where I need your input in coming up with a usable system for getting wood in and out. As you might recall from my previous woodshed video, the structure is set into a fairly steep bank. There's a J-shaped retaining wall that wraps around 3 sides of the shed. In some places the wall is 42 inch tall and pretty close to the shed. On 2 sides it's a pretty tight squeeze getting stuff in and out, particularly if it's long or large wood. While I can't build a fireproof structure, my hope is that the shed will minimize intrusion of hot embers that might settle on wood during a forest fire. This will be pretty hard to achieve with a structure that has many openings. I figure whatever I do, the shed will leak air like a sieve, but I'm hoping that some metal cladding will be better than nothing at all. Normally for purposes of wood drawing, you'd want to maximize air circulation. This helps to prevent mold from forming on the green wood. Of course, the best configuration would be to have no walls at all, just a roof, but that would let hot embers in during a wildfire. So here's where we have to make some compromises. Finally, there's the issue of cost. I've already blown way more money than I planned for this project, so I don't want to drop a whole bunch more completing the sides. I've already purchased the corrugated siding. I mainly need to buy wood, hinges, and other hardware for the doors. My goal is to spend the least amount of money to make a sufficiently functional and durable structure. Of course, I guess you could say that for just about any build. Here's where we get down to brass tacks, or nuts and bolts, or brass nuts, whatever. Basically, each door will be made with 31 gauge corrugated metal panels supported by a wooden Z-frame made with 2x3 studs with plywood gussets in the corners. Some doors will pivot on gate hinges or regular door hinges. I'm definitely open to comments on the durability and practicality of these door designs. Here we're looking at the north side of the shed, which is probably the most accessible side. I'm thinking there'll be 2 large door panels, panels A and B, that will give me access to the large slabs on the bottom shelf and second from the top. I'm a little concerned about the weight of these doors. I'm not sure that a Z-frame made from 2x3s will be enough to support a 67 by 40-inch corrugated metal door without sagging. Also, I'm not sure what sort of gate hinges will be stout enough to support the weight. Door C will give me access to that stack of split logs. It would be nice to have door C extend all the way to the ground like doors A and B, but the retaining wall would block the swing. You can't really tell from the pic, but the retaining wall extends about halfway down the length of the structure. Door D likewise does not extend down to the ground. Actually, now I'm thinking that door D will be a fixed panel rather than a door because I would typically access those small pieces of wood from the east side. Finally, there's door E, which is this long, low panel that detaches. Again, this configuration is needed because the retaining wall would block a swinging door. Here's the west side, which is the only side that's completely unobstructed. The main challenge here is that there's a downhill slope which makes it difficult to walk long pieces of lumber in or out. And wouldn't you know it, this is the side that the long lumber is stored on. There's a loft area, panel F, where I plan to store sheet goods. The triangular door will hinge along the diagonal edge. I'll prop the door open for access and ventilation. I'm really not looking forward to lifting a full sheet of plywood above my head while standing on the edge of a downhill slope. I'll probably just store plywood offcuts in this side. Door G will be used primarily to access long items on the upper shelves. You can get to the large maple stumps at the bottom, but those can't really be moved from this direction. You have to walk those out through the south side. Door H is the mirror image of door G. This likewise will be used to access long items in the upper shelves. Finally, there's panel I, which is fixed. I don't think I'll be storing anything in that soffit space. All right, let me know if you see any issues with anything. All right, moving on. Here we're looking at the south side. This one's challenging because there's a 42-inch retaining wall blocking access. Well, not entirely blocking, but less than 32 inches from the shed. Doors J and K will swing from the top hinges. I plan to prop those doors open for access and ventilation. Doors L and M will be removable panels. Those access points will allow me to get at the big stumps and burls that are stashed on the bottom racks. This isn't what you'd call convenient access, but fortunately I don't need to get at that stuff very often. And finally, there's the east side. Here's where I store small offcuts and full sheet goods. This is the side I access most often. Panel O is blocked off. Door P hinges on the diagonal, giving access to the loft area where I have full sheet goods. Unlike the western side, the eastern loft is easy to access because I can stand on the top of the retaining wall. This allows me to pull a full sheet of plywood in or out at waist level. Doors Q and R are basically mirror images. The bottom edge of door Q is just high enough to clear the retaining wall when it swings open. The retaining wall is lower in front of door R, so there's no clearance issue there. Panel S comes pretty close to the base of the retaining wall, so it has to be removable rather than swingable. I might split panel S into 2 smaller panels. Okay, wow, if you're still watching, congratulations. Again, my purpose in throwing a whole lot of information at you was to solicit your feedback. I definitely want to hear from you if you see any flaws in my design, particularly if you think the build will violate any of the constraints that I listed. I know there are plenty of experienced builders and designers watching, so please chime in. All right, well, thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.